journey or the purpose in your journey, you tend to not stick to the budget, right? Everybody can stick to the budget for about 2 weeks while you're excited about and motivated about it. But when life starts to happen, we deviate right back to the things that we know, right? What makes us feel good. So what I've learned over time, especially with myself, is that if I didn't fix my personal relationship with money, everything else that I wanted to do was just going to fall on deaf's ear. So let me share my screen here. All right. Is that presenting okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So during this time, I'm going to ask you to pretty much have a conversation with yourself. If I'm not mistaken, I have about 30 minutes with you ladies this evening. So we're going to try to take a quick deep dive into our personal relationship with money as we go through this, okay? So here we go. My name is Raquel. I have a program where I help women get control of their relationship with money. I've helped women pay down thousands of dollars worth of debt, save thousands of dollars, and really just have a sense of confidence and clarity when it comes to their money. And so I've done a lot of things right that I'm super proud of. At one point in time, I started my first business venture, which was an in-home daycare that my mother helped me with, that eventually led to me owning the first women's only gym with childcare in Covington, Georgia. And everything was going great at that point. However, one day I was headed home from work, and this guy was running a red light and he T-boned me. And so I was rendered unable to work out, train. That building that you see right there, 1,700 square feet. I had 7 employees, and it seemed like I lost everything overnight. When I look back at it now, I know that it was me not having my finances in order is what ultimately caused my business to fail, because had I planned everything correctly, I might have still been able to pay everything out and come back. But because my finances were not in order, I had to close down my business, still had to pay employees, still had to pay utilities and my lease and all those things. So I eventually became a banker. Becoming a banker was like the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Really started to get a clear picture with my money, opened up multiple 5-figure investment portfolios, 5-figure savings accounts, taught a lot of people how to change their relationship with money. And December 3rd of 2020, I walked into the bank and I walked out the same day. So I walked into the bank and, and my manager told me that she needed to talk to me. I didn't think anything was wrong because I love my job. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they had to make some business decisions. So they let go of 3 bankers in my branch, but 70,000 bankers company-wide. So from December 3rd of 2020 until today, I've been featured on Business Insider, Bloomberg Radio, SiriusXM Radio, Parents Magazine, The Table with Anthony O'Neill, the CW Network. I've been very blessed in my field. And like I said, my business is now in 32 countries. And I'm also an author. So I wrote my first book. That book teaches you about mastering your money mindset, which is what we're going to go into today. Okay, so let's do that backstory. So remember I told you I got into the car accident, lost everything. We were a 2-person income earning household that was then decreased to a 1 source of income. Now, even though my fiance worked for the CDC, it was like mid to low level income. So we were living paycheck to paycheck. I was constantly stressed. I felt guilty for treating myself, which then played into self-esteem because, when something is stirring internally, right? Emotionally, psychologically, that something's really wrong when it starts to present itself in physical form. Now, I'm a Southern girl. I like my biscuits, my gravy, okay? I like my shape. So during this time, I lost a lot of weight. And I remember I was walking into Walmart and this guy, he said, you sure is pretty, but you look a whole lot better with another 30 to 40 pounds on you. And I just remember trying to hold that face that we hold, that strong Black woman face that we really try our best to hold on when something's wrong. But I was about in tears when I walked into Walmart because he didn't know me, but he could see what was going on internally on me. And so I realized at that point that a lot of things had to start changing because, again, anxiety, sleepless nights, they were starting to manifest externally what the battle that was going on internally, because I wasn't bringing any income. I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do for my children myself, right? And I really had to fight to get past that. So I made a decision when I looked at my daughters and I said, I'm not doing them any type of service by continuing to operate in life the way that I am. So started to figure it out, manage my money, got my budgeting and everything together. And I'm blessed to be in the financial position that I'm in today. If I want to up and travel, I can pack up the kids, we're gone, no questions asked. Like, I'm able to give freely and everything. So it's such a night and day shift from where we were about 5 years ago until today. Okay. Now I know that I'm not speaking just for myself. Have any of you ever been in a financial position where you really found yourself stressing about money? You could feel that anxiety, right? You'd be wanting to do stuff, having to compromise if you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, waiting for using one paycheck to take care of your vacations or take care of a trip, and then using the other paycheck to take care of your bills, right? Those internal conflicts that we have with ourselves, if you're really in the deep of it, it can present itself on externally, right? This is where people start taking medicine for anxiety. This is where you start having people take medicine for depression, because whether we want to admit this or not, we are very closely tied emotionally with our relationship with money. Because I think we all can argue that the way that we see money, feel about money, and think about money all plays into how we operate with it and project those thoughts and feelings onto other people, right? Can we agree? So we're going to be talking about your money mindset. So that's your driving force into your daily interactions with money. It's how you behave when you think about or have access to money in that moment. Okay. So before we move any further, this is something that I ask everyone to do. I could talk about myself day and night, but honestly, I'm not here for myself. I'm here to talk to you about your personal relationship with money. So what you need to do in this moment is say, you know what? The only thing that's going to help me right now is me. I can watch all the YouTube videos. I can download the templates. I can do all of those things. But if I'm not being honest with myself, what good is it to do all of those activities and have nothing come on the end result, right? So you have to take a moment and say, I'm going to be 100% honest with myself. I'm going to take off that facade that I put on for the world, that everything's all right when it's not. I'm going to stop trying to live the social media life and pretend like everything's okay when it's not, right? And that's not to say specifically for social media, that's to say for your family and your friends, because some of us are that person in our house, in our families. Some of us are that person in our families where we look at them or they look at us and they say, oh, that's the person that has it together. But that may be a facade, because you may just be trying to hold that image up when deep down you're really struggling and battling with even having your first $1,000, maybe $5,000, some $10,000 in your savings account. Because statistically speaking, 70% of adults do not have $1,000 in their savings account. So while we may all look good, statistically, I know that the majority of people who I speak with, or the majority of people I'm on calls with, cannot even handle, let's say, paying their mortgage 2 months without working. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to be completely transparent and say, what is your current relationship with your money? Is it where you want it to be? Are you happy with how your money is aligned right now? Do you think of money and you say, I'm at peace with my relationship with money? It's a battle for me. What's the conversations that you have with yourself? Look, for I want y'all to write that. Y'all wrote everything else. I want y'all to write that. What's your current relationship with money?
You want us to write that down? Is that what you said, Raquel?
Yep. I want you to answer that question. What's your current relationship with money? When you're writing that, I want you to answer, how do you view money? Do you view it as a resource? Do you view it as just a means to pay your bills? Are you looking at this as something where you see opportunities, or do you look at it where you see, I'm just trying to make it? Your honest current view, not the optimistic side of you, but like how you truly view money in this moment. And then I want you to talk about how you feel about money. Do you feel fear, guilt, shame, envy? Do you look at people who have more than you and say, well, why they have to do all that? Why do you have to show off like all that, right? Do you feel guilty for having more than others, or do you feel guilty for doing something nice for yourself? Do you feel shame? Do you feel like you're not in the place that you should be with your finances? Where's the emotion that's attached to this? And then what are your thoughts about money? Like when you get paid, the conversations that you have with yourself are much different than about a week and a half before your next payday. Right? So what are the thoughts that you're having? Are they consistent? Are they inconsistent? Right? Do you think the same way about your money from payday to payday? Or do you have those fluctuations where you have very positive, optimistic thoughts when you get paid, and then a week before payday, you're starting to realize that you're having these compromising conversations, right? Where you start negotiating with yourself. And then how are you behaving with your money? All right, so the thought is one thing, the action is another. How are you behaving with your money when you get paid a week before payday? Are you saying to yourself, it's no big deal, I get paid again next week, and then actually acting like it's no big deal? Or are you having the conversation with yourself with saying, you know what, I know that I can take care of this when I get paid next time, so there's no need for me to do this right now? Where are those behaviors attached? Are you behaving responsibly? Do you feel like you're a bit sporadic? Do you feel like you behave impulsively with your money? Where are your behaviors? Now, typically in my longer sessions, I would spend some time and really like reflect with you all on that and have you share. But my time is kind of tight today. So take some time and think about your responses on there. Now, just like in dating, right? When you date someone, they tend to be like the first to second, maybe even third person. They tend to be like your parents, right? Like the people who raised you, okay? So if you grow up and you're in a very like loving, supportive household and everything is like, you know, peachy keen, well, when you date someone who doesn't meet those level of standards, right, that your parents have raised you by and say like, okay, this is how you're supposed to be loved and respected because this is how we communicate with each other. This is how we treat each other. This is how we treat you. Your first or second relationship, first to two relationships are going to mimic the exact same as what you were raised by, because that's where your conditioned standards lie. Right. So just as someone who was raised in a happy, loving, supportive household, and when they get into a relationship, their standards are in a certain place. So if something happens to where they start hearing things that don't match up to that standard, they recognize those red flags and they walk away. Right. Well, just like if you were raised in like an abusive household that wasn't supportive and those type of things, now your first or second relationship is going to be similar to that. So now it's abusive, right? And you're not recognizing them as red flags because you've been conditioned to think and operate in that same manner. Can everybody agree with that? Mm-hmm. Right? That's why they say, be careful how you treat your kids because that's who they're going to grow up and date. The same exact connection happens with money. Okay. When you're watching your parents operate with their money, you are being conditioned subconsciously and consciously conditioned on how to operate with your money, the same way you've been consciously and subconsciously conditioned to operate with relationships, right? So there's this beautiful quote by Robert Kiyosaki that says, our past plays a significant part in the way we operate with money as adults. This is a quote by Robert Kiyosaki that I just adore. It says, the issue is that the subject of money is taught at home and not in school. So what can a poor parent teach their child about money? Now, he's not just talking about being financially poor, but he's also talking about being poor in financial literacy. Okay, so this is why we have people who grow up to become doctors and lawyers and all those great high income earning jobs. However, their expenses match their income, because while they may have been raised to go to the great schools and go get the good jobs, they were not taught financial literacy in order to manage the things that they have acquired correctly, right? So with your relationship with money, we always have to take it back to, what was your very first memory of money? For some people, it's, my mom gave me some money and she told me always save it, right? And so I always saved it. I never wanted to spend my money. I never wanted to touch it. Or it's, someone gave me money and they told me, you should always treat yourself. Go make sure you get yourself something nice, right? What's your very first memory of money? And you need to ask yourself, at what age did you learn the importance of saving money? Because for most of us, our relationship with money really didn't develop. Our recognition of our relationship with money really didn't develop until after we were already in debt. Right? You go to school, student loans, you're 18, 19, graduating college. Now you're ready to go out there, face the world, and you have thousands of dollars worth of debt sitting on you. And you're trying to establish a relationship with your money. Mm-hmm. So I want y'all to just kind of ask yourself, what was your relationship with what was your father's relationship with money like? What's the very first memory that you have about how your father managed their money? Did you just remember them working all the time and coming home and just being super tired and not being able to enjoy the fruits of their labor? Like, do you just remember them being exhausted? Or did you remember, your father enjoying the money and saying, hey, I worked too hard, let's go do these things, let's go have a good time? Where was that memory associated with? And the same with your mother. How did you see your mother manage her money? Was she always shopping and buying all the things and making sure you had everything, or was she, really like trying to save it and be frugal? Right? Or maybe your mother, your father were huge givers and just gave, right? What's the memory that you have of how they managed their money? Now, most people will say, okay, well, I grew up and it was, if you have a roof over your head, clothes in your back, food in your stomach, don't worry about it. But that's still just as damaging, because now the only time that you really have a relationship with money is when you become an adult, because you had to remain in a child's place. So you learned everything except the foundation of what you really needed to learn, right? We learned how to communicate with people. We learned the proper way to dress, proper way to speak. And you didn't learn how to actually survive financially. All right, so where's your first memory? And how did they talk to each other about money? Do you have any memories of them arguing about money? Do you have any memories of them like kind of sitting down and just working through the finances together? Where are your memories associated with that? And you have to ask yourself if money was valued in the household. Okay? And if you don't have an answer for that, where was the attention placed with money, right? What was the lifestyle like? What's the earliest memory that you can recall? Do you remember that they always worked hard for money and lacked the time to enjoy it? And then in thinking about that, do you see those same habits in yourself? Do you find yourself working really, really hard and not being able to enjoy your money? Do you find yourself being a giver because that's who they were? Do you find yourself spending all your money because you deserve it, because that's how you were raised and that's what you saw? And then I want you to ask yourself, what has your current relationship with money cost you so far? And everything that you saw and you can recall about your parents, And if you were able to have a conversation with them, what do you think they would have said that their relationship with money has cost them? And when you ask yourself this question, are the answers between what you feel like your parents would have said and what your response is about yourself, are they similar? And if the answer is yes, then what are you going to do to change that so that the next group of people who are coming behind you don't have the same response that you had, like your parents had? Okay, and if you have children, definitely ask yourself, what's the earliest introduction to money that I'm giving my children, right? Okay, so we all can agree that we have triggers. Everyone has triggers, right? And money triggers are how you behave when you think about money in that moment, like right then. That's why when we go to the stores, they have those aisles, because they feed off of the fact that by nature we are consumers and we consume impulsively. So they have those last minute aisles because we just have this nature of saying, oh, well, just in case, or, oh, like I have a fear of missing out, right? It's not something that we necessarily think, but it's the fact of, oh, let me just grab this, or, oh, let me just grab that, right? So we all have triggers or reasons as to why we impulsively spend money. Now, these could be positive reasons or these could be negative reasons, right? So what are some positive reasons that you all think would be some reasons for you to spend your money? Some positive reasons for you to impulsively spend your money. You can unmute your mic, it's no problem. It's not many of us in here.
Family need, you're trying to provide something you think your child might need in the future.
Okay. What are some more?
Early Christmas shopping.
Early
sale. When you see sales in the summertime, get those Christmas gifts.
Getting those sales. Okay. What about I can't see the participants, but with the beautiful necklace, what's one for you?
You just want to treat yourself.
Just want to treat yourself. Okay, so let's talk about this. So celebrations, family outings, a special date night, right? Having the I deserve it mindset in your friends. Now, whether these are positive or negative, who knows, right? But with family outings like cookouts, right? Oh, yeah, I'm on my way. Oh, could you pick up some ice and some cups and some paper towels and some, like, these random things last minute that you just thought to yourself, I don't have to worry about cooking because I'm going to this cookout. Now you find yourself at the store picking up stuff or you're waiting to cook out. A date night, grabbing new clothes or whatever. The I deserve it mindset. You might be getting paid, or you might be out on your lunch break or something, or it may just be the weekend and you are constantly telling yourself, I deserve it. That's why you're always shopping online and stuff, right? Or your friends, if they want you to go out. And I heard some of the things that you all said about the Christmas stuff and about stuff for the kids. But the thing is that Christmas comes every year. So that doesn't necessarily have to be an impulsive reason, because if we know what we're going to spend typically for Christmas, then we can just divide that by 12 and know what to put away each month. And so if something does come up on sale, you already have that money put away, so you can just go ahead and grab it out of there for Christmas, right? Same thing for your kids, like I have 3 daughters, and I know there's a certain amount that I want to do, like invest or whatever for them. So I put it away. And if there's something comes up, I can go ahead and just put that money towards it. But that was something I had to learn. Okay, and then negative triggers: anger, stress, exhaustion, boredom, addiction, friends. Again, positive or negative, right? These are reasons as to why. These are reasons as to why we impulsively spend our money. If we're angry, most time the first thing we go to is to go buy something to make us feel better, right? Oh, I'm frustrated. Let me go on Amazon. How do I end up on Amazon, right? Like that's what your immediate go-to is like, I have to make myself feel better. I'm gonna buy myself something. This makes me feel better. Exhaustion, spending 2 hours at the grocery store buying groceries, and then somehow you end up in the fast food line because you're too tired to cook the food you just bought, right? Exhaustion, boredom, having just, chilling on the sofa watching a movie. You might see an ad or something. You might be on your computer and you're just like, you know what, that looks cute. I have nothing else to do. Or addiction. This could be addiction to people pleasing. This could be addiction to drugs or alcohol, right? Having an addiction to that. And, friends or your family. Because some of us, like I said, our go-to are the go-to people in our family. So we just feel obligated to be there for other people. But we're going to talk about going into boundaries. I know I'm going over, y'all. I can't help it. Forgive me.
No, you're good, Raquel. You have an hour, so you're good.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
I was just zooming.
You have an hour. You can stretch it out.
Thank you. I was so thirsty. Okay. Excuse me for 1 second. I just choked on the water. All right, I apologize. I thought I had like 20 minutes. Okay, so overcoming those triggers. The best way to do this is to write down a list of everything that makes you happy, right? What are things that you spend money on that makes you happy? And y'all can take a second and write out that list.
Raquel, Tessa's hand is raised.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Reverend Dr. Tess Powell Curtis.
Yes.
Well, no, my question is kind of, I guess it's a little opposite to the making you feel good when you spend money.
Mhm.
So how do you talk to people, encourage them about their financial literacy when they do not like to spend money? Because we know in order to make money, you got to spend money at times. That's another whole different area. But I'm just thinking, based upon the question you just asked about, you know, what makes you feel good when you spend money, and how do you feel, pretty much. And I'm like, if you don't like to spend money, granted, you know you have to. How do you get, because that brings stress as well, right?
It does. And what I've found about that is everybody has something that they're spending money on. They may not attach it to self-care or like self-care, like things that make them feel good. And they say, I just don't like spending money. I just don't like spending money. The percentage of people who say that and actually don't spend their money is so small, because statistically 70% of people don't even have $1,000 saved, right? So what I find is they attach that statement to doing things for themselves, but they may be spending their money on taking care of a family member. They may be spending their money on giving, right? And so that's what fulfills them. Now, my challenge with people who really struggle with that space is getting them to understand that they're causing harm to themselves being that person for everyone, and creating that solid foundation for themselves.
Thank you. That's very good.
Thank you. I impressed the doctor. Okay, so what's a list of some of the things that you all wrote down?
For me, it's travel. I like to travel.
Okay.
I put travel, good food, decor, hobby indulgences.
Good
Well, mine, go ahead. No, please go.
No, come on. I was just kind of.
No, I was going to say, no, mine, of course, is renovation, buying tools and, you know, things of that nature. That's one of my, I don't have that tool. I'll have to grab that, you know, and I feel good about it.
Yeah, you do look.
Know you're gonna use it eventually, Tess?
Say again?
Or do you know you're gonna use it eventually, or are you buying it for like
No,
projecting?
I use them.
Gonna be doing something. Okay, gotcha.
No, I use all my tools.
Okay.
So the thing is that we all have things we spend money on that may make us feel good, right? Or have that rewarding feeling. The way that you get away from the triggers is just by factoring them into your budget, right? I feel as though most people, when we create a budget, not even I feel, it's proven at this point. When we create a budget, we oftentimes just include our expenses. We're not thinking about our lifestyle. And it's just kind of a fact. None of us are going to work somewhere that's not going to cover our basic expenses. However, when you're not factoring in those lifestyle expenses, the things that you're spending money on that makes you happy, that's where we find ourselves really stretching and making compromises, right? So factor in those things into your budget. Ma, you love power tools, right? See what's the average amount that you're spending on power tools, divide that number up by 12 and just start creating a bucket for that. So when there is a new tool that comes out, just go ahead and get the money and spend it on it because you have it saved and put aside for that purpose, right? With travel, you know that you're going to spend probably anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000 on travel, depending on who's coming with you. Divide that number by 12 and then just space it out accordingly. I've learned that that's the best way to do it, is by identifying what my lifestyle expenses are and factoring them into my budget. It takes off so much stress. I don't have to compromise anything because something that was a $3,000 expense could simply be $70 a month. Now, $70 a month, I'm not going to cry about. $3,000 within, a month and a half, I might be like, do I really need to go on this trip that bad? Or, there was having those type of conversations. Okay. And then this is how we create healthy boundaries around ourselves, right? So we have the positive reasons why we spend money. We have the negative reasons why we spend money. Creating healthy boundaries around people, right? Friends and family members is super important, but it's as equally important to create healthy boundaries around yourself, okay? We could tell everybody else what's wrong with them and what they need to get together, and then ignore the boundaries we need to place around our personal selves, right? So creating a healthy boundary is identifying, these are the things I spend a lot of money on that just make me feel good. And it may be over time, it may not be all at once, but it's something we're not factoring in. So then we look at what's in our accounts and we're saying, I make too much money not to have anything to show for it. That's because the only thing you're factoring in is your bills, right? And then creating healthy boundaries around things that don't fit within that. So if you notice that you spend because you're stressed, what I would really focus on is creating if-then statements, right? And we were talking about our money mindset shift. This is where this goes into. So it's the daily practices that you put into place to change your current thought processes as it relates to how you operate with money, okay? So with those if-then statements, there are things that you spend money on that you really just are like, why am I spending money? Okay, I know that I'm stressed out. I know that I'm telling myself I deserve it all the time, but maybe shifting what that picture looks like. So if you're saying, when I'm stressed, I go buy wine, or I go, buy myself something new, change that to say, when I'm stressed, then I X, Y, and Z. Take a warm bath, do something relaxing, something that does not cost money for you to feel good. Okay. If-then statement. When I tell myself I deserve, then I X, Y, and Z. Change what that picture looks like. Because if you know it's harmful to you and you're not doing anything about it, then obviously something needs to change, right? Create those if-then statements. All right, so here's how you shift everything, right? So first, I know you hear everybody say create a vision for the things that you want. Like everybody's like, vision board, create a vision board,
Yes.
right? Well, vision boards are cool in the moment because you're really focused temporarily on what you want, right? But it's not just like saying I'm creating a vision board, it's creating a vision environment, right? So You may have heard people say, change the lock screen on your phone, make sure that your physical environment meets the environment of where you want to be, right? So some of the things that I do with my students is I even have them change how they wake up in the morning. So for example, this is what I hear every morning at 4:30 in the morning. Y'all don't have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know why. Because I read this book called The Morning Millionaire, and it says the average millionaire wakes up at 4:30 in the morning to start their day. And so since then, that's what I've been doing. And I have my students set up their Alexa, or if they have an iPhone, to set up their automation. So the time that they would like to wake up, it starts them off in the right state of mind, right? Because if you set yourself up in the right state of mind, then everything else that you have to do that day is going to get the best of you. Like, hey, this is the best version of me that I have to offer today because I chose to put myself first. Not, oh, I'm waking up, oh, I'm going to hurry up and get ready for work. Oh, stressed at work. Everybody tell me what to do. Now I'm off work. Now I have time for myself. Now I can relax. Let me get some wine, watch TV, and forget about the day. That's not doing anything for you, right? We're in machine mode. So this is what is played. I'm gonna hope you guys can hear it.
It's time to say your morning affirmation. Are you ready? Good morning, Raquel.
Oh, hold on.
2.
Hold on. Here we go. This is what I literally hear every morning. I just feel like a lazy potato if I don't
Good
get up.
morning, Raquel. It's time to say your morning affirmation. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I am so happy and grateful now that I am a world-renowned educator in financial literacy and impact the lives of millions by December 31st, 2022. Go ahead and make a morning story post on Instagram.
Oh,
Then get ready and go to the gym. No excuses. Be sexy. Last thing, you're amazing. Be intentional. It's going to be a great day.
It takes about a week for contacts to
Okay,
be
so
delivered, but it only takes.
as soon as my morning flow is done, I automatically have it go to a motivational podcast I listen to. So I'm either listening to Eric Thomas, Les Brown, something like that, to where I just feel obligated at that point to get up because I'm hearing all these motivational words. So at 4:30, Monday through Friday, I'm up, I'm at the gym. I've started my day before my children have started their day, and I'm in control. I've noticed my income increase significantly. I've noticed my capacity to do things have increased significantly, right? So it's all about just, instead of me operating with the day, I operate taking control of my day. And it really has changed a lot of things, okay? And then take inventory of your finances. So in doing so, it's saying, I'm gonna create a budget, but I'm gonna create a realistic budget. Go back 3 months in your statements. Take 2 highlighters. One highlighter is going to be for all of your wants. The other highlighter is going to be for all of your needs. You're going to total up what you spent on your needs, and you're going to add up what you spent on your wants for each month. What you'll notice is that your wants and your needs are probably going to be around the same number. Okay, that means that you have had a significant amount of money that you could have used to either pay down debts, to save, or to invest. And once you become aware of how much money you've truly been spending on wants, not only will you feel like, I don't even know what half of this stuff was that I bought, or that I spent money on, but you'll start to have those conversations of, how do I create these healthy boundaries? What are some if-then statements that I can put around this? Did I really need to spend this kind of money? Okay, because doing something as simple as creating an index fund account with a month's worth of the money that you spend on once could create thousands of dollars, okay, in earned money, opposed to money that you don't even know what you did with it.
Hey, Raquel,
Yes.
Farrah has a question.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
thank you.
I thought that was so neat. How do you do that? On just a technology question, I guess. How do you set that up on your phone? Is there an app that you use, or?
Do you have an iPhone?
I do. Yeah.
If you go to shortcuts, okay, if you go to shortcut, I will join the meeting from my phone. And then I'll show you. I'll join the meeting from my phone. I'll show you, okay?
Okay.
And then stop speaking to people who aren't aligned with your focus. Okay, I mean, that's pretty easier said than done.
In progress.
Raquel, you may have to put us on mute on the computer and so you can pick it up on the phone so you won't get feedback.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I'm gonna join the meeting again. I know what I did wrong. As I'm about to tell you about technology, I can't get the technology right. All right, no audio. No audio. Okay, I figured it out. Okay, so stop speaking to people who are not aligned with where your focus is. Easier said than done because it might be your kids, right? It might be your coworkers, your boss, or whatever, or your spouse, because your vision may be different than what their vision is, right? Even though, you know, we're always growing older, you know, we're taking on new things. That doesn't mean that we're not growing as individuals. And so sometimes you can grow apart, right, individually as you're on your own personal journey. So that's why it's so important to be around people who have that same focus as you, whether it be through groups like Voices of Encouragement, whether it be through, you know, with my mom's organization, where it's really focused on community building, right? Surrounding yourself around like-minded people is vital for your individual growth, right? If you want to grow in finances and you're like, man, if I could just get to $10,000 a month in income, then you need to be around people who are making $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 a month in income, because then at that point, to them, it's like, you're not here yet. But to somebody who's making $5,000 a month, they're thinking you're doing too much. Okay. So it's very, very important. All right. So let me share my screen. And I think that's all that I have on my slides. Oh, yeah, we went through that. Okay, so that was it for my slides. Let me show y'all how to set up those automations real quick.
Awesome.
Oh, I didn't get this.
Raquel, you making me get started back up to using the, I used to use Texterly, and we had about 40 people on Texterly that were receiving motivational messages every morning. It was either Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Lisa Nichols, you know. Farrah, were you one of the folks that were receiving it? So you're making me think I need to put that back in place, because I've had some feedback from folks saying they really miss it. It gave them life, you know. Like
it's so good. Yeah. I feel like a lazy potato if I don't like
right, just having that.
Yes. Okay. So oh, there's the meeting. Okay, so if you have an iPhone, you're going to, how do I move myself? Down here at the bottom, can you see where it says automations down there at the bottom? All the way, it's like a little clock.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Okay, so you're gonna click on the little clock down here. And this is how you set this up. So you'll hit a plus sign, the plus sign at the top right. And then you're going to create a personal automation. Okay, and then so I have mine set up for my alarms. So I literally cannot get around listening to this when I stop the alarm. So I hit alarm. And I put when it stopped, because you know, when you stop, you're like, oh, I stopped it. I don't have to worry about listening to it. Like you'll have to listen to it. So you hit when your alarm is stopped, and then you can pick existing. So when you go into your clock on your phone, So let me see, let me go into my clock. Here. And you set your alarms in here. This is where it'll grab it from. All right, so you just set your alarm. Oh, wait, please. Oh, whew, all right, that was getting on my nerves. Okay, so when your alarm is stopped, you click existing and you pull one of the alarms that you have set up in your phone. Once you do that, so we'll just put 7 a.m. so I know what I'm doing, because this is what I need to lead. Then you hit next. Now you want to add an action. So the action that I add is text. So speak text. Speak text right here. That's what you want. And then you're going to type what you want it to say. The reason why I have mine broken down with the countdown is because when my alarm goes off, my eyes are closed. I need time to be alert to say my affirmation. So I have mine do a countdown. So this is what mine looks like. So it's just a bunch of just me just putting speak, and then I've typed what I wanted to have. And you can even create pauses in there, just the same way I search speak, you would just search wait, and then you can put your pause in there. And then I have mine linked to a podcast at the end. So once it's done telling me to have a great day, I decided I wanted to add in my daily motivational podcast. And that's where I start to listen to the Les Brown and everybody. But there's no way of getting around this. When I stop my alarm, this goes off automatically. And I also have another one for when it's time for me to shut down my day. So this one right here. This one says, all right, girlfriend, it's time to shut it down. Stop what you're doing, grab your journal and reflect on your day. I'll play some relaxation music while you wind down and get prepared for the day ahead. Be sure to write down 3 things you want to accomplish tomorrow. Right? And then it goes into my relaxation music.
Very good.
Yeah. So that's how I have that set up. And then did y'all see, I'm sorry, did you even see how I had my vision on my lock screen of my phone?
Yep.
It's always around me. It's everywhere.
Thank you. That was great. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. So did you all enjoy that session of understanding like your emotional and psychological connection that you have with money? Did it make you think at all about money in a different way?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Did anybody think about, like, want to share kind of maybe some thoughts that they had as they were going through it?
Well, I think as you were going through it, Raquel, one of the things I was thinking about, you said, think about how your parent was with money. Well, my mom raised 5 kids, worked 2 jobs, and was always working. So that's what I saw. So I'm a hard worker. I know that. She instilled that in me, but how she managed money was she'd go out shopping all the time too, when on her free time. She's like, oh, let's go to the mall. I was like, so I always felt like we were shopping. But I when I grew up, I don't feel like I shopped like that. But then if you talk to my kids, they're like, Mom, we were always at the mall, but we were at the mall because I would take them to get them out the house, not to shop. I said, you got the wrong message. I didn't take you to shop. We were at the mall so you could play with, they had the play area and they had little fun stuff and we'd get ice cream. But I really believe that that had something that psychologically watching my mom and then her going to the mall, it was like the way to relax. But again, I sent the wrong message to my kids because they said that to me. I was like, wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. So now I don't go to the mall as often, only when I need something.
There's this thing that I listened to and I was like, that's it. So there was this mom and she was talking about how she learned how to cook from her mother, right? And so she was like, I have this roast. And so, we follow the recipe and every time with the roast, we do the seasonings and all that. We make sure that we cut the ends off, we put it in the pan, wrap it with foil. So because that's how she was taught, that's what she taught her daughter. And
Right.
then so her daughter went to her grandma's house and she's like, oh, I'm going to make your famous roast. And so she does the seasoning, she cuts off both ends of the roast. And the grandma goes, why are you cutting off both ends of the roast? And she said, because mom said that's what you did. She said, baby, I did that because it wouldn't fit in the pan. Right. So
Consciously.
yes, so exactly, it goes to the thing of this is what she saw her mother do. So that's what she taught her daughter, when in actuality it may not have been what she was even trying to teach her. Right. But because we learn both consciously and subconsciously, those things are internalized. So I just love how it all plays into every aspect of life. And I think the last place we think about it is with money.
Which was why I'm so glad you were able to present this today, because I captured a lot of good notes. Now, are you going to be sharing your presentation, or is that copyrighted, or how do you feel about sharing your presentation?
Oh, it's the call is recorded. Do you want me to email you the presentation?
Yeah, that'd be great. And I can send it out to everyone. Or you could, yeah, if you send it to me, I'll send it out to everyone. And I'm recording on this side too. And you're okay with me uploading this to the YouTube channel?
Oh, yes. This used to be a paid class, but I've since wrote my first book and it's all in here.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Give us the information in the chat for your book so we can all support you.
Yes, I would love that. I signed every copy and I've
Awesome.
signed a lot of copies, so it's been fun.
I have mine.
Appreciate the support. Would you say, Ma?
I have mine.
Yes, yes, you do. So did anybody have any questions for me at all? I'd be happy to answer any of them.
I just
Well, I
wanted to
have
make
one
a
question,
comment.
Raquel, because you had to make a mind shift and you said to yourself, how, if I don't shift now, then what am I, you're going to leave my kids? What am I sharing? What am I telling my girls, basically? So what are some of the steps you went through to get you disciplined enough to be able to continue to do the savings, to get you in a rhythm so that you felt like you were on your way?
I got emotionally attached to what I needed to do because I was emotionally attached to not having. That felt terrible, right? And so I was like, well, if I'm gonna hurt, I might as well hurt doing the right thing.
Right.
So I just started thinking about what I wanted for them and if I wanted them to be my age, feeling how I felt about my financial situation. Right. And the answer was always no. So that's what kept me focused. Like, my mom has always spoiled me rotten, right? But I had to realize very quickly, okay, that things cost, right? And I didn't really realize that until I was an adult, that you had to pay for stuff. And so it hit very hard.
She is telling the truth. She really is telling.
It's a learned lesson. I think it's you learn those things along the way. And I want to say, I don't want to hog all of the questions because I think Cheryl has a question too.
No, I just have a comment when it about my parents. Like my dad, he was a really hard worker, and he just worked a lot. And my mom, she was really good at budgeting. So it was actually 7 of us. It was 7 kids. And I remember when I was in high school that I didn't have a credit card in high school, but she said, when you make your payments on your credit cards, make sure you pay your minimum balance and your interest. That stayed with me up until now. So I tell my kids the same thing. Make sure when you make your payment, you make your minimum payment and your interest. And that stuck with me since I was 16 years old. I didn't even have a credit card back then. So when you said about the things that you learn from your parents and, how you passed it on, me being a mom of 4 kids, well, 4 grown kids, but you pass it on to your kids and hopefully, they pass it on to their kids. But yeah, that was something that kind of stuck with me as far as my mom. She was a real good budgeter, but just like, when you get that credit card, make sure you pay your minimum payment, your interest. I'm just like, and it stuck with me from like age 16. And like I said, I didn't have a credit card at that age, but it just stuck with me. And I knew, and that's what I actually taught my children.
That's so good. And I think like what's really important as well is that we start having the conversation about investing earlier. We're taught to save, some people are taught to pay down debts. Not a lot of people. I think that's phenomenal. That's what your mom taught you. But I think investing is just so super important. Like there's a study done that said, Black wealth is supposed to be diminished to 0 by 2053. Some of the things that are going to change that is having those conversations, introducing investing much earlier, especially financial literacy and debt repayment, right? So we just got to do our best. My 6-year-old will tell you she's investing in a heartbeat. And I'm like, what you investing in? The money. Okay.
She knows what she wants to do. But my grandson, I have to say this, my middle grandson, I laugh because I'm like, this little guy is only 7, but he knew he wanted to be a banker when he was 5. I mean, so for Christmas, we all gave him wallets and dollars and money.
Oh, nice. Nice.
For some reason, even with his Lego sets, he's building banks, So I said, you know what? He is going to be a banker. That's what he keeps saying he wants to be. And I believe he's going to do it. Now,
But Edna, I'm gonna say I don't think he's gonna be a banker. I think he is going to own the bank.
There
Okay.
you go. He's going to own
Hello.
the bank. The way he
He's going
talks,
to
I believe it. Yes.
He's gonna start out as a banker, but he's going to own the bank.
Yes, we're going to claim that. Thank you, Tex.
That's right. You're welcome.
So ladies, this has been amazing. It is 8:07. I want to honor your time and make sure that, Raquel, are you finished presenting? Would you like to add something addition? Do you have a call to action for us?
So yes, I have a very important, critical call to action. You have to purchase your book so you can stay focused on mastering your money mindset. It's so important. No, honestly though, this book it talks about everything we went over today, and it even has you're able to have your self-discovery conversation. So I leave lines inside of the book so you can ask yourself those hard questions.
Oh, perfect. So where do we get the book? Is it on Amazon? Do we directly reach out to you through your DM? How do we do it?
I just put the link inside of the chat for the book. It is 100% self-published. So I don't have it going through Amazon, but I am proud to say the book has sold in 5 countries and 32 of the 50 states in the United States.
Awesome.
Nice.
That is wonderful.
Thank you.
That's great feedback. So I'm getting the link now so I can get my copies, because I'm gonna get a copy for each one of my kids as well. So
That's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. So this has been really wonderful. And thank you, Raquel. I want to say that let's continue the conversation on next week. And if we can, that would be awesome. Continue the conversation with Cheryl. She's going to be our presenter, financial educator. She'll be discussing building a financial wealth. But before I close out, I want to say, Raquel, you did an excellent job. Thank you for presenting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the engaging conversation. And thank you to all the workshop participants who came out tonight, because without you, we can't do the workshop. But then you're taking time out of your busy schedules to be able to support one another, to be on the call, and to really look and see what we're going to do this time next year, because I think this thing kick off every April, and we just continue to have an annual thing and build up on that. So I'm looking forward to that. So Cheryl is going to be touching on 4 foundations needing for financial freedom, and she'll be covering topics such as: is your family protected in the event of a passing? Are you confident you know how your money grows? The importance of saving for your children and your grandchildren, that legacy. And then also she's going to touch on, is your retirement investment 401k, IRA protected? And do you know about tax-free retirement vehicles? I mean, so she's going to have opportunity to speak on that next week.
Yes, amen.
All right. So we have Tess, who's Reverend Dr. Tess Powell, who's going to close us out in prayer. And we're going to bid you guys to have a great evening.
All right. Well, let us pray. Dear Lord, we glorify you, we magnify you, we thank you for all things. Lord, we thank you for this training that you provided for us on this Thursday evening, and we thank you for all that you yet have to give us. Lord, we give you all honor, all glory, and all praise, and we thank you for Edna and the combining of the ministries for the building of individuals and the building of your communities. And so, Lord, we just glorify you. We thank you for the heart of everyone that is on this call, as you continuously pour into us through them. And we give you all honor, all glory, and all praise, and thank you that until we meet again on next Thursday with the additional people that will be on this training, we give you all honor, we praise you, and we thank you for your goodness, your kindness, your love, and your mercy. In Jesus' mighty master's name, amen.
Amen. So we will see you all next week on Thursday, April the 21st. Have a triple P weekend, powerful, positive, and productive. Until we meet again, Ephesians 4:1. Walk worthy of the call for which you call.
Amen.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a great evening.